Nah, I don't think we need an episode like that.
What up, niggas? It's Nasty the villain. Besides rap, you know the god chillin'.
All right, y'all, what's going on? This is the Highly Advised Podcast. I am here with Spence and Lau. This is episode 8. How are y'all doing this week? The Ocho.
I'm excited to talk to niggas today.
I'm trying to sound happy. I'm trying to, inflect my voice into the mic, speaking with a smile. Apparently, you're supposed to do that when you're introducing things. It makes you sound inviting,
Nah,
True.
A serial killer that I heard.
How are y'all doing this week?
What you so happy for, man? We on quarantine.
Nothing. Not a damn thing. It's nothing to do.
I feel you. Nah, I speaking of happy though, I'm doing pretty good, honestly. Semester done, about to graduate. Life is good. Yeah, like I told y'all, I had a shoot earlier today. Oh, hold. Let me put that in context. I had pictures done today. I don't want no one thinking like, oh, he about to graduate college and he just shot the block up for the day. No. I've been pretty good though. Pretty good, enjoying myself. It was a crazy week last week, but all in all, everything's good though. I can't complain. What's going on? How about yourselves though?
Wow.
Nigel. At the same time,
I'm not doing too bad. I'm chilling. The same shit I've been doing for the past few weeks is what I'm still been doing. Working out, editing this damn podcast. I can't say
like
that I'm doing
it.
much else. Nah, man, I'm about to try and find a way to make the shit faster. Like going through and trying to get that dead air out is something I'm not trying to be doing for like 3 days anymore. We're gonna get this shit out sooner.
nice.
That's a fact. That's a Fendi.
Yeah. So for me, I just want to say is first of all, congratulations to Spence because he's accomplishing something really good. And a lot of people should aspire to accomplish what he accomplished. And, he set an example. So, in all seriousness, so definitely congratulations to that. I said my week has definitely been good. No complaints and all that stuff like that. I'm actually getting really used to this teleworking lifestyle. And I don't know if I should or not because we don't know what's going to happen.
Don't, man. Like, it's fucked up because I like not having to drive an hour to and from work. It's really nice. But I know when it starts again, I'm just going to be hating life, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a little
Yo,
challenge.
isn't it so funny how humans are just never satisfied individuals, yo?
Yeah.
Humans will say, yo, I hate quarantine. Yo, know what's crazy? Prior to quarantine, every human was saying, yo, if I just had time off, I wish I could get paid and I wish I could work from home, or I wish I could just stay home, da-da-da. Now it's like, yo, you can work from home. Dog, this is horrible.
Nah, I don't feel that way. I would tweak it a little bit.
I like teleworking. I really
do.
I think teleworking is not so bad. I mean, there's going to be times where I'm like, okay, I need to go in the office because there's some things I do need to complete in the office. But if 90% of the time I could telework from home, yeah, I'll take that.
Look, I'm gonna be real. I don't like most of my coworkers, so I don't care if I don't see them all the time. Like, honestly, like I don't want to say most of them, but I have a select few people that I fuck with. The other ones, y'all are cool, but I don't need to see y'all all the time. I'm okay.
I know who's getting called in the HR when this shit is over.
No, they know how I feel about them. I don't hate any of them. I just, we're not going to be best friends. We're not going to be going around having beers after work or nothing like that. It just is what it is.
We ain't buddies, we ain't partners, and we damn sure ain't friends. The games you playing, you'll get hit like that.
Yeah.
They're like, we think about cutting company costs. We appreciate the work you've done.
We need team players here, Nigel.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to give their Instagram handle or Twitter handle before we keep on going?
Big Cozy, Too Cozy on Instagram. That's it. On the most popping social media platform out there, Instagram. It's like, I don't know. I'm just saying.
He only got like 30 followers. Don't listen to this guy.
Exactly. So that's why you all should follow me so I can have 30 times more.
Damn. Relaxing _ Jackson is me. Spence.
This is Instagram, right? My Instagram, my IG. Follow me on IG at Saint Kitch, KITCH. Follow me on Twitter at St. Kitch ST_KITCH. And yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just stay out of trouble, man.
I'm Nigel No Shame on Twitter. All right, let's get started, y'all. Let's recap what happened last night, the first sporting event in about a month and a half, UFC 249. How'd y'all feel? Let's start with the prelims. How'd y'all feel about the prelims?
Whoa. You giving inaccurate information, Nigel. It's not the first sporting event.
The first major sporting event
in a month. You must forget about the WWE. How can you?
Oh, yeah, of course. Okay, yeah, God forbid, right?
Yeah. Of course, Vince McMahon's somewhere looming around, right?
Yeah, you know, how can you disrespect the OG billionaire Vince?
Well, other than that,
you say that like he pays you or something, man. How you want to disrespect the family, bro?
Yeah, the McMahons, the Dons.
How'd y'all feel about 249?
Great event, top to bottom.
Amazing event. Unfortunately, I actually fell asleep during the event. At the main event, I fell asleep during the first round of the main event. Yeah, so I had to go back and watch it. But I mean, the I ain't even gonna hold you. Like for someone like me, right? I'm big into like I watch a sporting event, but I always wait till like the very end, like when it starts getting like the meatier part of the fights, right? So last night, instead of watching most of the prelims, I decided to watch the Jill Scott and Erykah Badu thing. From there, I was just like, so I was listening to that while I was watching the fights. And while I was watching the prelims, I was like, yo, some of this is really good. I'm not even a huge sports person like that, but this time I was just saying to myself, yo, thank God Dana White brought sports back, like real sports, like not not the whole, it's we got these two guys, someone's playing the hill and someone's gonna just fake all the moves for the rest of the night. Like, yeah, like I had like it was to me, I like just off a quick word, it was a great event. Like we're gonna go into detail about it, but that's just what I want to give off up front. So
yeah, I think it was a good event for sure. I definitely give the event like a 9 out of 10. And the reason I won't give it 10 out of 10 is because there was two fights that was kind of like but out of the 9 out of 11 is a great ratio for me for good fights. That's why I say 9 out of 10. I think it was a great event, and also this just goes to show what happens when you actually put great fights on a card instead of stacking a card with nonsense fights and just make the main event one good fight. And that was happening quite a bit before this pandemic. So I think UFC 249 was kind of like a good callback to like the late 2000s where we were getting really, really good cards, and then out of nowhere, we're getting a bunch of crappy fight night cards.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I really had an issue with as far as the card goes is a few of the decisions were kind of iffy. But otherwise, like I can say that I like majority of the cards, or the majority of the fights on the card. I think that otherwise the fights were really good. The card was really good. I think only maybe every other fight except the first one on the main card was a finish, if I'm not mistaken. And like people were fighting to actually win the fights, not just for point fighting. But what I will say, as far as the prelims go, one person who seemed like they weren't fighting to actually finish the fight was Carla Esparza. She seemed like she was in there fighting just to kind of throw a jab here or there and be in the fight and win. It didn't seem like she was actually trying to win that fight at all.
I actually thought she lost that fight.
Me too.
I watched some of that fight. Like I was listening to the battle while making some wings. So like I watched pieces of that fight, and it seemed like to me that she probably was losing the fight from what I saw, but I didn't watch enough of it to make the objective decision overall to be like, yo, if this was like called correctly or not. I think all the decisions went pretty good though.
Well, I think before we get into, I already see Lyle making a face. So before we get into the fight he's waiting to talk about, I just wanted to point out a couple other things I saw from the prelims. Bryce Mitchell did his thing last night. You're talking about somebody who was just completely dominant in every round. Like every round could have been a 10-8 for him. The other guy was not in the fight at any point in time. He dominated the whole entire fight. I was very impressed by him.
I scored every round for Bryce Mitchell 10-8. The official judges scorecard seemed to agree as well. I haven't watched a Bryce Mitchell fight prior to last night, but after watching tonight's fight, I'm like, man, I would want to watch him again. He's a killer on the ground when it comes to grappling.
We were sleeping on him.
Yeah, we definitely were, because that was one of those fights where we were kind of like, whatever. I wish that fight opened up the card instead of Ryan Spann and Tim Alvey. That fight was kind of, but the Bryce Mitchell fight, man, Bryce Mitchell, he did his damn thing.
Right.
I felt like if some of the things that didn't happen on the main card, he probably would have got a performance bonus.
Do y'all have any other comments to make about the prelims befwer we talk about the main event of the prelims?
Yeah, I was gonna say Werdum. That fight, I was kind of surprised actually, because Werdum was losing the first round, and to be honest with you, I really thought Oleinik he might actually finish Werdum the way he's throwing, but then those last 2 rounds he wasn't sticking to the same game plan at that moment. So it was a good fight. It stayed a good fight across the board, but it was just Werdum. There was a moment in time I did think he was going to lose.
So when I made the prediction I thought Werdum was going to beat Oleinik, but due to my ignorance in the broadcast team, they were saying this quite a bit throughout the fight. I forgot that Werdum was out of the sport for 2 years due to his, and you could physically see that he was in the best shape. You could see that. I felt like when he took Oleinik on the ground and all that, you could see like, man, like if he was just in better shape or better condition, he probably would have been able to grab some of the finishes, because he was attacking with arm bars and he should have had Kimura and stuff. So, but I was just like, man, he was just probably super out of shape. He couldn't really, and he was getting lit up. But those punches must have not, I'm not saying they didn't hurt, but they must have not like really affected him that much for him to keep pressing forward in the fight.
Let that be another heavyweight who's actually a little bit better of a striker. They might have put him away.
Yeah.
But I also think though, Oleinik, he started getting tired in the later rounds. So when you start getting tired, Ramaji, he was trying to throw everything but the kitchen sink at him in the first round. So during that first round, I think he tired himself out a lot. And then you add in the grappling aspect from Werdum that actually sat him down. That pretty much it just grinded him out some more, making him tired. So had Oleinik, I think his punches probably would have been able to still hit hard, because like we saw in some of the later rounds, the later fights that night, like some guys just know how to take a punch. Some guys really know how to take a punch and a beating. I think Werdum I think his overall skill set from the years of experience that he had at such a high level kind of helped him in the sense of, like you said, with like the arm bars and the other types of submissions he was going for, without having that moment of, oh shit, I'm about to actually be out. Like if I wasn't so out of shape, I would get him out of here. And if I didn't have the certain skill level that I have, I'd be out of here, because he was getting tagged the whole first round. That first round, I didn't think he was going to be able to make it out.
I could see Oleinik, fighting another top 10 heavyweight outside of this.
Put him against the winner of Walt Harris and Overeem.
Yeah, that would be a good fight. Even though he already smoked. He got smoked by Overeem and Walt Harris already, though.
Oh, really?
But I think it would be different now, though, because from watching the commentators, like I haven't watched Oleinik in a while, but it seemed like they were saying at first, it seemed like physically he was in better shape than he used to be, or physically his shape, it looks better, though he got tired. Because I think Oleinik is like in his 40s, like 41 or something like that.
Yeah.
Now he's probably taking care of his body differently. So if he can put on that type of pace that he had now, I'm not gonna say he will win, but I think he has a higher chance of winning now compared to back then.
When he fought Walt Harris, I believe that was earlier this year or very late last year. So the Walt Harris thing was not too far removed from last night. But Overeem, it could be different, because when he fought Overeem, that was over a year ago. So
that Juiced Overeem or
no? This is Overeem after the juice. Yeah.
Nah, I wasn't sure, man, because those are two different guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
They are. It's just funny.
Two different guys.
Speaking of two different guys, the Anthony Pettis Donald Cerrone fight was the main event of the prelims. How'd y'all guys feel about that?
I think honestly, I think Pettis won the fight.
Despite my feelings on who won, let me not take away. Let me not take away.
You just was on here. You just on here talking shit about him. Go ahead.
Just shitting all over him.
Let me not take away the fact that the fight was a good fight. Though. It was a good fight. If I didn't know who Anthony Pettis or Donald Cerrone was, I would have been like, "Damn, this fight was pretty good." Because it was.
If you didn't hate Anthony Pettis, this fight would have been pretty good. Also.
Yeah, I think Anthony Pettis is a bomb. I really do. I don't think he even said in an interview that he didn't know that he won. He didn't know if he was going to get the win. He wasn't even confident. It was crazy. It's so bizarre, like how this guy, he could get taken down every round except for the third. He gets out punched in every round, but somehow the judges, who were sniffing cocaine between the rounds, they ended up giving him a decision. It's ridiculous.
I was gonna say, what did Cowboy do when? Okay, he got taken down, right? Honestly, the 2 rounds he got taken down, the first and the second, I'll give I'm more inclined to give Cowboy the 3rd round than the first and the second. The first round, though, no, because
he for sure won the 3rd.
But see, to me, I think the only way I could give Cowboy the 3rd round is by the fact that at the end of the 3rd round, I think he could have stole the 3rd round by his performance at the end. Because after he got punched from the eye poke, he kind of became more aggressive, and he gave a better performance in the 3rd round to me. The first round, to me, when I watched the fight twice, I watched it again this morning. In the first round, though Cerrone's giving off more shots than Pettis, and he takes him down. I think Pettis had the better hits in the first round. Personally, he was hitting him harder than Cerrone was hitting him. 2, when he got taken down, Cerrone did nothing when he took him down. It was practically stalling. Like, it came across as stalling. Like, it didn't even look like he was trying to place any movement. It seemed like he was catching his breath or holding him down. I'll give you a point for a takedown, but at the same time, you're not doing anything. Just because you take him down and then he gets back up, it's hard for me to give you that favor at that moment.
I think for that reason, that's why I can say I understand why Anthony Pettis won, because with the takedowns he got in the 1st and 2nd round, he didn't really do much of anything with those takedowns. But I would say with the 1st round in particular, I think Donald Cerrone won that round because in that round, it looked like he was trying to advance the position on the ground. But in the 2nd round, it looked like he just took him down because he could, and then he didn't really do any damage from there. So I can understand why somebody could see that and be like, well, yeah, you took him down, but what did you really do to win the fight?
But to me,
but that's like subjective judging, right? Because every fight is different. You'll have people who'll take somebody down over and over. Or, like, for example, Dominic Cruz fights, right? When Dominic Cruz takes down people, and I'm not talking about the co-main event because we're not there yet. But when he takes down people, like, for example, TJ Dillashaw, he did nothing with those takedowns. But then again, he won those rounds because of the fact that he was taking him down. There's got to be some consistency when it comes to, scoring takedowns. I feel like the takedowns were valuable because he wasn't laying and praying, Yeah, granted, the 2nd round takedown, he really couldn't get anything off because Anthony Pettis was defending and getting up, you know what I mean? So it wasn't like he was just laying on top of Anthony Pettis. And next year, Anthony Pettis went ahead and got up. No, he took him down. He couldn't do anything, and Anthony Pettis got him up. And I feel like, that's a fair takedown to score. Because it'd be different if he took him down, he laid on top of there, and like he wasn't trying to advance or anything, and then Anthony Pettis got up. Then that's fair to not want to give him that. But if he takes him down and it looks like he was trying, but he just couldn't get anything off, that's not fair not to give him anything. And I feel like Anthony Pettis he did have the harder landing shots, you could tell. But, Donald Cerrone landed more, you know what I mean? And I'm like, he in the 3rd round, he also cracked Anthony Pettis with the hardest shot of the whole fight with the head kick. So, I just feel like Donald Cerrone did more in the first 2 rounds, enough to get him a decision. That 3rd round, there was that eye poke, but I kind of gave the 3rd round to Pettis some form of fashion because of the fact that, he did more in that 3rd round. And Donald Cerrone didn't turn it up until like the very last few seconds.
I thought that was able to give him the third round though, because when he did actually turn it on, he was doing damage, probably more damage than either of them really did in the whole fight. That's what I would say.
To me, I'm willing to give the third round more to Cowboy because it seemed like he's turned it up in the third round personally. But to me, it's how you said it's subjective with takedowns. It's subjective in the sense of punching then, because if you're telling me, okay, he's hitting harder, if Pettis is hitting harder, but Donald is throwing more punches, how do you rate that? If the guy is throwing more, if one guy gets off 10 hits, gets off 5 hits, and it's equal to the amount of power that one hit gets off from Pettis, how do you rate that? Do you say, oh, well, that one punch that's given that harder hit is causing more damage than those 5 smaller punches?
All right, so look at it like a Nick Diaz or Nate Diaz fight, right?
Right.
Those guys, they don't really have powers in their punches, but the reason why they be winning rounds in their fights because of the amount of volume that they have. If it came down to power punching, a lot of guys who throw a lot of volume, they would be losing fights off the strength
Yeah.
of, oh, well, they don't pack punches. They don't pack enough power in their punches. I feel like that's not fair because, like, it wasn't like Donald Cerrone was throwing like these little pit pat punches. No, Anthony Pettis was getting cracked. Did you see his face? You know what I mean? And I just feel like, yeah, Anthony Pettis might have had a little more power in his punches, but he didn't land as much as Donald Cerrone. You know what I mean? And I feel like, and I'm not saying Anthony Pettis just threw one or two connecting punches. No, but one or two connecting punches, of extreme power versus somebody who landed 10 or 12 of medium impactful punches. To me, I'll give the round to somebody who landed the medium impactful punches because they landed more shots. You know what I mean?
But then, but did they make more damage though? That's the question. Then
I mean,
that's
more
and
more
that's
volume
subject.
over
That's
time.
subject.
More volume over time is going to cause more damage, whether you have a whole lot of power or not, in one single
Right.
punch versus another person. And
But
that's why I feel like Donald won those rounds. He had more, like Anthony Pettis. He showed last night he is the harder puncher between the two, right? But he didn't look that great either. Like the fact he wasn't even confident that he even won that fight. He wasn't. So it is, to me. I was just like, yeah, he got the fight, and there could be slight arguments that can be, oh, well, this is why he got it. But I mean, that's why I think that he lost that fight because Donald, he did more over time in the first 2 rounds.
yeah, I mean, and I guess this is like you said. I guess it comes down to opinion because though I saw Donald being more active because when I watched the fight the second time, every round that I looked at, I was looking at how can I score this for Donald Cerrone? How can I give Donald Cerrone the win in every round? That's how I looked at it when I watched the fight a second time. Like you said, like it granted it's opinion based, but like though to me, like when you look at someone like the Diaz brothers, how you brought them up about like okay, they give out volume, right?
Yeah.
Though they give out volume, a lot of times, even though they're giving out that volume, they're probably giving out volume and they're probably holding their own throughout the fight and probably showing some dominance in those rounds when they're giving out that type of volume. I feel like to me, I didn't see that from Donald in those first 2 rounds. To me, like I didn't see a something dominating enough to say, well, okay, you're putting out volume, and though you're putting out volume, this guy's putting out more power in his shots, which is causing more damage to me personally. And granted, that's subjective. But if I'm seeing that you're putting out more volume and he's putting out more power shots, and it's not like okay, you're dominating him. It's not like, and like of course we're gonna get into it with the Gaethje fight, but it's not like okay, if Tony was putting out more volume, right? If I saw a fight where he's putting out more volume, but he's also dominating the fight, I would give them the round. I would have to give Donald the round. I didn't see that from Donald. And like I said, though he was trying to work for some positioning during that, I guess the first takedown, to most people that looks like, okay, I see you're trying something, but it's not like you're trying. And it's not like you're really pressing the line to try something. Like granted, I understand in MMA and well, in martial arts, period. Like setting up something is not always what it looks like at the end of the day. Like I put like this. It's not like when I watched Doom and you could see where Doom was trying to get position for the armbar or for the Kimura. I'm seeing that, so I'm like, okay, I'm giving this to Doom right now. He's active while he's on the ground. He's active and is visibly. I can visibly see what he's trying to do, even in those moments where it's like he's trying to get the arm, and I guess he's trying to. I think he was holding on to Olenek's shorts or whatever to try to actually better position himself to get the arm. I can see that, and even then, though it looks like it's not much going on at that moment, it shows me that you're still working and you're dominating. But when I saw Donald in the first round with the takedown, though he's trying to get some position, it didn't look like he was pressing the issue when he was down there. And granted, it's like I said, it's different when it comes to martial arts, but because that takedown is the only thing that I find that if you can convince me that takedown deserves the right for a win of that round, I can understand it. But what I saw on the feet, I can't. It's hard for me to give that because, like you said, though he's giving out volume, I saw more damaging punches from Pettis overall. So
I think the decision overall is debatable. Me personally, I still kind of stick with Donald Cerrone because it just seemed like he was doing slightly more to win the fight. But the fact that Anthony Pettis won, I'm not surprised by that. I'm not mad about it either. I mean, it is what it is. I feel like if Donald Cerrone actually wanted to win the fight, then he should have done more with those takedowns. I think that would have cemented the win. But because he didn't do much with those takedowns and on the feet, it was pretty debatable as to who was getting the better of who. I can't really say that I blame the judges for really going in one direction rather than the other.
right.
We're just gonna have to respectfully agree and disagree, which is okay. And I respect your combat game knowledge, because you do watch the sport. So
he's just like fuck y'all. Anthony Pettis won. I don't care about anything else.
No, Anthony Pettis, man, fuck him, because after the fight, this guy, he was kind of like, oh well, I'm gonna go for another title run at lightweight. Like, you don't deserve one. You don't. That fight was at welterweight, and then prior to that, you got spanked up by Nate Diaz. And the only reason why you want to go back to lightweight because you won't have a career at welterweight because you fought Donald Cerrone, who we can all agree that this Donald Cerrone he beat Donald Cerrone in the past too, but this Donald Cerrone, he's not as good as what he was a couple years ago neither, right? So it's okay, but for any other welterweight that has any type of grappling, he's going to get smoked. He will never last at the top of the welterweight division. And at lightweight, unfortunately, he won't last there neither. Because guess what? All those guys, except Conor McGregor, can wrestle. So he's a bum, and I hope that for his next few fights, he gets stopped or beat really viciously. He's not good. He's not good. He's not good. He's not good, bro.
It's gonna be crazy. This is gonna be crazy when we play this back, and it'd be crazy if you run into Anthony Pettis one day. He's like, ain't you Big Cozy from that podcast? Yeah, I heard what you said about me. Oh, bro, you're one of the greatest, man. I got your weed spot.
If I ever see Anthony Pettis, I'm not gonna talk shit to him or try to start a fight. Obviously, he's a trained fighter, right? But if you ask him my opinion of him, I don't think he's gonna get anywhere further than where he is right now. I don't think so. And if it came down to us fighting, then yeah, I'll take the lick. I'll take my ass whooped. But you can't say I fucking ran or anything. So, but like me, I'm just
you've literally been hating on this man for the past 2 or 3 episodes.
But let's be real. Am I wrong? Is Anthony Pettis a superb fighter? Is he a great fighter? Is he one of the best fighters in the world at welterweight or lightweight? Let's be real. Okay, thank you. Exactly. Thank you. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm not. Look, if we're talking about Anthony Pettis versus some, guy that's not even in the top 15, yeah, okay, good job, Anthony. You're supposed to beat those guys. Let's talk about when you start fighting tough competition of the division. That's why he's going back down to lightweight, because he knows, he can't fuck with none of the top 5 guys. He can't. And at lightweight, he'll probably be, at the bottom half of the top 10, which is, that's a good pat on your back. That's no small feat. But when it comes to fighting the top guys in either division, he's getting beat. If you watch the Nate Diaz thing, if you watch how Nate was spanking him, Nate was literally putting him over his knee, and he was just spanking him on his ass. then the fight after that, when he lost to that no name, I can't even remember the guy that he beat. The guy was not even ranked, and Anthony Pettis gave up.
You know what grinds my gears, man?
You and Anthony Pettis just need to fight, man. That's all it is. Like y'all just need to fight.
Hey,
You
yo,
just need to shoot
Dana,
the fair
set
one.
that up, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
Shoot the fair one.
No, of course, if me and Anthony Pettis fought today, he would smoke me, right? Because he's the trained fighter. And all that
Nah,
stuff.
he's a bum.
But yeah, he's a bum against other elite UFC competition. He's a bum.
Nah, that's all he's gonna hear, bro.
Yeah, I'll wait to that. Well, I mean, if it came down to it, that I'll have to pull a strap out.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think now that we've gotten over the loud "what grinds my gears" segment, let's go on to the main card.
All right, so first things first.
But shouts out to the Pettis brothers, though. I mean, let me just put this out there before we finally move to the main card, right? I don't think Anthony Pettis is a bad human being or a bad person at all. So I don't have any personal guy or nothing like that.
I'm cutting this out. I don't want him to hear any of that. So Greg Hardy's fight sucked. The first round was kind of cool, but after that, like this guy Jorgen just gave up.
He didn't give up. His foot was broken.
He didn't throw a punch. He didn't throw any punches.
Yeah, well, if you looked how he fights, he really relied on his lead leg to sit down on his punches, and he wasn't the jabbing type of fighter anyway. You could see that. You could see that he was just throwing the way he fights. He just throws heavy hooks and haymakers.
I think in the second round he didn't throw a single punch at all.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't see that fight, so
yeah,
boring.
You didn't miss, but I mean, it's fine. I'll put it like this. I never had a broken foot in the middle of a fight, so I could only imagine that probably just, messed him up mentally, and he probably was in a lot of pain.
I mean, I hear you, but it just seems kind of weird. Like if he can go in there, if that's the case and he felt like that, I'm not going to say like, just, give up or whatever. I guess that would be a bad look, but at the same point in time, like it just looked odd that he just kind of went in there and moved from side to side and did nothing else other than that. Like, if you're gonna fight, at least throw a punch. That's all.
Well, but let's give credit to Greg Hardy, right? Even though that we weren't rooting for him, he adjusted in the fight, and I'm like, you know what? We can't. Even though we're not rooting for the guy, he did. He took advantage of. He's seen that Jorgen wasn't doing that, and so he took advantage and he switched it up a little bit. It is what it is, but I think it's time for Hardy to start fighting, either a very tough veteran that's outside the top 15 or somebody bottom of the top 15, because it's like one or two things that's going to happen. One, he's either going to be built up correctly where he is going to start ascending up the heavyweight ladder, or he's going to become a glorified can crusher.
He might want to fight Olenek.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad fight to start.
Yeah, I could see that fight actually being decent. Like it's a decent test for him. See as to where he's at and, move on from there.
I agree with that.
Now, the fights that really I want to talk about are one, Calvin Kattar and Francis Ngannou.
I mean, let's just talk about that right now, right? So Jeremy Stephens, Calvin Kattar, it was a great fight. Probably would have been fight of the night if it wasn't for the main event. Calvin Kattar is the real deal, and he has some damn good boxing. And apparently,
he's nice, man.
Apparently, he was off that night too. I would like to see Calvin Kattar, fight Yair Rodriguez next. Somebody up there. Because if he keeps on fighting like that, man, we might see him get a title shot. It's kind of crazy.
I'd want him to win that fight too. I'm not a fan of Yair Rodriguez. I feel like he gets a lot of. I feel like he's overhyped.
I like it.
Not me, man. Not me.
I like Yair.
Nope.
So I watched some of that fight because I really wasn't like I said before. I wasn't too hip on Kattar at the time. So I was just like, well, Jeremy Stephens is going to win this fight. And I think in the earlier rounds, Jeremy Stephens was actually doing really well. I said to myself, I was like, oh, just as I expected, he's going to win this fight. So let me go get some other stuff done. But clearly I was wrong.
That elbow KO was crazy. I was like, man, this is going to be knockout of the night. There's no other credible knockout.
But bruh, the what came after that, the knockout that came after that, if he doesn't die, it doesn't count. That's what was crazy.
Let me tell you something. Francis Ngannou walked in the ring like he had no fear of Rosenstrike and just started fucking swinging. Like, I haven't seen some shit like that in a long time. He just started throwing punches at him and knocked him out. 20
I'm
seconds.
not. Look, I'm not surprised because I say he's gonna knock him in the first round. I called that, but at the same time, I'm surprised on how he did knock him out. Though it's like you said, he had no fear. As soon as his hand touched Rosenstrike's chin, Rosenstrike, his whole body, he went to sleep. He started snoring. You heard, they had the medics rushing there with the smelling salts and all that shit like that.
Like I said, he thought he was still in quarantine.
Yeah, he
Clearly.
He absolutely
Untouchable.
has a concussion.
So that fight was so crazy that in that 20 seconds, right in the beginning, you could see Rosenstrike is saying, you could tell Rosenstrike's game plan at first is, all right, I'm gonna keep my distance, I'm gonna kick him, I'm gonna try to lead with these kicks, and hopefully it can wear him out down the line.
Yeah.
Then the next thing you know, Ngannou was like, yo, all right, I had enough of this. This is like, he's like, yo, you remember the fight with, who was it, Michael Johnson versus Khabib? And Khabib was like, I need this. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hitting him with elbows. I need this. I'm sorry. I got to smash you. I need the title fight. Dana, I need the fight with your boy. You could tell he came in there with the same mentality, like, yo, I need a championship fight, bro. Let's not even make this debatable. I don't even want anybody saying, yo, and look how good Rosenstrike looked against him. Nah.
Not at all.
He walked, like, did you watch him walk into the ring? He seemed like he just like woke up from a nap, kind of like, yo,
in the pre-fight, he said he's like, yeah, I googled him and that was it, and I didn't know who he was. In the post-fight interview, he was like, yeah, I don't think he knew what he was asking for. Right after he knocked him out, man.
But you know what was scary about that knockout was when he went, like, he came in and he just knocked him out, right? He wasn't done. Like, you could tell he was about to get
he was getting some extra licks in.
Even when I think Herb Dean was the referee. Herb Dean was coming in and
it was Dan Margliotta.
So like you could tell Dan Margliotta was like, yo, the fight's over. Nah, he's not dead yet, yo. He's not dead. Now, remind you, Rosenstrike is like knocked out with his back against the cage, right? And his like the backs of his legs are against the cage. Like his whole body's it's like he's sitting on his knees.
Yeah.
And you could see Francis Ngannou was trying to get a full mount. He was like, yo, I'm about to get a full mount and I'm about to kill this man.
Yo, the way he went to sleep.
Just crazy, man. He was like not even kind of conscious either, like all the way out, man. Like I was shocked because we all know Francis Ngannou can knock people out. That's no secret. Right. But I don't think anybody expected it to be like that.
You saw what DC was saying, right?
No, what did he say?
DC came out during the fight. He was like, I don't want to fight Francis at all. He's like, if I have to, if I have to, I will, but I do not want to fight Francis. Because Francis said something about, like, yeah, I want a title shot. And DC was like, yeah, I think Francis deserves a title shot, but you know me, man. I'm in the division, but I don't want to fight him.
Take a year or two off his life.
I think DC was being real with that though, because he came out and was like, "Yeah, I'd rather fight Stipe, but I have to fight him."
He's like, "Please, Stipe, get better."
Yeah, if I have to fight him, though, just know that I will not be standing up with him. I am going to wrestle. He said that straight to the camera, and I was like, I can't even hate. He seen that shit, and he was like, "Wow."
Say, nah, not on my watch, yo. I'm not about to be playing this game with nobody.
Yeah. You can boo me if you want to. If I'm for
not taking any chances. I got a wife and kids.
Yeah. Yo, Rosenstrike, I don't even know if, he'll be the same after that fight. You know what I mean? Because, like, that knockout was so severe. I don't even know if he knew what was going on when he woke up. I don't even know if he knew that he even made it to Florida.
Honestly, where's Rosenstrike from?
He's from South America. It's one of those countries in South America.
He's probably gonna wake up in South America in like a day or two while he's using the bathroom and be like, "Oh shit, where am I at? Oh,
I still gotta fight Francis.
No,
Knocked
his
him back
wife."
in time.
He's like,
God.
it's like, yeah. It's like, yo, I got this big fight coming up with this Francis guy. I'm gonna knock him out. Nah, his wife is like, no, honey, no. Just go back to bed. Just go back to bed.
Francis Ngannou looked worried after he knocked Rosenstrike out. Like he's like, damn, I almost killed this man. Like I shouldn't have did that.
Yeah.
In his mind,
I like how humble he was though. Like, cause he know like he knew that he could smoke him, but after he smoked him, he wasn't like parading about it. He was kind of like being a little classy about it. He even tweeted out after the fight like, "Thank you, Rosenstrike, for taking the fight, and he hopes that he gets well and all that." So like I think that was pretty cool in Ghana. You know what I mean?
I think he recognizes what his power is at the end of the day. Like he recognizes the one thing that makes him kind of an unstoppable fighter to some extent, except for against Stipe.
Yeah.
I want to see him get that Stipe fight back though. I want to see how much has he really improved. Yes, Stipe has wrestling, but like he used wrestling against a guy that doesn't wrestle. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I want to see if Ngannou is going to be able to work on his defensive wrestling and all that. Because even though Stipe did beat him, it wasn't like Stipe clearly beat him up to a pulp and all this. It was just like he basically out wrestled him. You know what I mean? And kudos to Stipe because that's a good job. But I just want to see if Ngannou worked on his skill set. That's what I'm saying. Because he's going to continue to knock out these guys. He's going to continue to blow through them.
Yeah, and I think that's that's like the sad reality with it. Like someone like Ngannou, if he lost to Stipe every time, I would love to see how he's improved. But I also think if he lost to Stipe every time, right, and Stipe stayed the champion, he would literally be one of the guys that's like he's the number. He would just forever be the number 2 guy because he would be the gatekeeper to any other fighter coming up the division because of the power that he has. And it's not like he's like Roy Nelson and is like with no disrespect, like an out of shape fat guy. He cut like a bag of dope. Like,
what's crazy though? Roy Nelson, he's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, apparently he's nice on the ground.
I think Francis Ngannou though, the only fight he should take outside of a title fight is a rematch with Derek Lewis.
No,
I think get that one back.
If I was Francis Ngannou, I'm not fighting anybody but the winner of Stipe. Who else is qualified to fight for the title right now other than Francis?
Yeah, you're right. Nobody.
So why not wait? You know what I mean?
He said himself, though, he doesn't want to sit around and wait another 11 months. And right now, the way this whole DC and Stipe thing is going, it could be a long time before they fight again. And that's why DC, every week, he's telling Stipe, sign the contract. And I don't know what's going on with Stipe. I haven't been following on why he's not signing a contract. But there's been talk where, like, okay, he could be stripped of his title.
I got a theory.
Go ahead.
My theory is that Stipe knows that DC is working on fixed time. There's only but so much more time DC is willing to fight. He's going to fight somebody. That's just it.
Right.
So I think that he's just going to wait him out until he feels like, all right, I'm just going to keep on waiting. I'm going to keep on training. And I think he believes that he can beat him. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like he, in his mind, might think the only thing that gets better with time is his chances of winning that fight. And I just feel like he's just holding out until whenever he feels ready to sign.
Yeah, but I think Dana's going to strip him because there's been talks of that now.
But you also know you
can't hold up a whole division just because he's going to wait out on time. It's not boxing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think, and also you have to remember with Stipe, like he's had a lot of issues with the UFC behind closed doors.
That's
like
him
true. And Dana. Yeah, him and Dana's had a lot of issues over the years. So that I think that probably plays a part because even if he signs the contract, I think he kind of understands. Like, I'm sure there's things behind the scenes that he wants to have happen that's not happening for him because with him being ever since he's been the heavyweight champion of the world, I think he only had like one beer commercial. He should have been marketed better than what he's been, and I think a lot of that has to do with like his relationship is with the UFC. But I do agree with Nigel. Like, I don't think Francis needs to fight anybody right now because all it takes is just that one loss to put him out of contention. So,
Speaking of losses, let's talk about the main event and co-main event.
Triple C, man. Once again, he proves that he actually belongs at 135. And I mean, I didn't think it was a fluke when he beat up Marlon Moraes, but I knew it was going to be a tough fight because I predicted a tough decision for Dominic to win. But as that fight was starting to pick up its pace, Cejudo kind of kicked in another gear, landed that knee, and he started pounding Dominic out. At first, I was kind of like, "Oh, that was a bad stoppage," but after watching the replays, I was like, the stoppage actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I agree with the stoppage. And when I saw it, I don't think that it was a fluke. I think Henry Cejudo is good, man. Like, he's not a bad fighter. And I think he just went in there and did his thing, and he beat Dominic Cruz up. Now, as to why Dominic Cruz lost the fight, whether it be old age, whether it be the long layoff, I'm honestly not sure at this point. It could be a combo of the two. But
I thought it was good game planning from Henry's team, and I also thought that Henry did a good job at adjusting. And that's like back-to-back fights now that you see that Henry had great ability to adjust. Because Dominic, because in that first round, I scored up for Henry, but then Dominic, he started switching it up, picking the pace up more. And as Henry was starting to get hit quite a bit from Dominic, you could see Henry, he started adjusting as well. And then once the headbutt happened, he kicked it up another gear, which I was like, well, okay, just, Henry he's absolutely the real deal,
Yeah. I also think, though, when looking at the first round where I think Dom did lose, you see where, I don't know if you paid attention to the opening parts of that round. Dom had a lot of adjusting to do because some of those leg kicks he was trying to throw or some of the punches he was trying to get in, his distance, he had a hard time covering the distance because I think just due to the huge layoff. I think by the time he was finding himself starting to adjust, it was just too late, honestly. And as he's trying to adjust, I think it's two people in that fight, in that cage. So as he's adjusting to being back in the ring, he's adjusting to who Dom is and how Dom is fighting him. So because to be honest with you, I really thought Dom might have a chance of winning this fight because I think I sent it in the chat. Like, there was a moment where you could see how Dom is moving the way both the fighters are moving. I'm like, okay, Triple C might actually get clipped. I could see Triple C getting clipped later on, just because of his head movement. I'm like, understanding how Dom's IQ is a high chance that he could lay him out. But I think maybe a minute later, 60 seconds after I said that, the fight was over. So
I think if Dominic Cruz wants to continue fighting, because after watching him fight last night, I don't think he necessarily has to retire. But what I would say, though, if he has any chance of continuing fighting, and I can only imagine he's fighting for another title shot, another title run, he needs to fight more frequently. That's just it, because I think that this layoff might have been too long for him.
And not only that, it wasn't like he came back and fought Takeo Mizugaki or whatever like that.
Right.
He fought, one of the pound for pounds. Yeah.
Probably needed a tune-up fight then, if anything.
He probably did. The TJ Dillashaw thing, that was kind of like a lightning does a strike twice type of deal. You know what I mean? I feel like Dominic Cruz, that first round, you could tell he definitely lost that first round. Second round, you could see the pace was picking up. He was hitting Henry more. But once credit to Spence, what he was saying is Henry Cejudo, he was adjusting as well. I mean, that fight could have seen the third round if that knee didn't land, and maybe Dominic Cruz could have once again picked up the pace even more. But we'll never know, and it's not Henry's fault that Dominic Cruz was in a position to get kneed. So
and more than likely, we'll never know how that would be if they could fight again, because I'm sure you guys saw, but Triple C said he's retired now. He's done. Similar to a conversation we were having off mic, he's done. He's got a girlfriend, and he's about to just go play his video games. I think he said he got a new Xbox or something, so he's going to play his video games and just be with his girlfriend. I
don't blame him. I think that's the way to do it. Not too many people have the luxury of retiring when they're on top. I don't know what else he can do. He beat Demetrius Johnson. He beat Dominic Cruz. I don't think he's going to go up to 145 anytime soon. Honestly, like at this point in time, why not just retire and call it a day? You know, like he's been competing from what he says since the age of 11. Like
Yeah,
I think he's done.
wrestling.
Yeah, I think he's done what all that he needs to do to prove a point. I think he'll be highly regarded when it's all said and done. I don't want to say one of the greatest ever, but he'll be highly regarded when it's all done.
Yeah, I
So
think he's going to return though.
I think so too. I've seen something from what Ariel said and Michael Bisping said it, and this might apparently this might be a negotiation tactic
Yep.
for a bigger contract because
Mm.
he was asking for more money. The UFC probably didn't give it to him. That's why he's pulling the stunt. So I mean, of course, I can't confirm or deny. Or like this is what it really is because I'm not in. According to Ariel and Michael Bisping, who are in that realm of behind the scenes and all that stuff. I was like, okay, that makes sense. He might be trying to negotiate more money. If that is the case, why not Henry go out and get his coin? Because he's actually one of the more, known fighters, and he's actually one of the, best fighters in the game today. Um, I think that the title fight, though, like the next title fight now, will probably be between Piotr Jan and Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I personally think Aljamain Sterling deserves a shot. I think he's done enough at this point in time, and I would love to see him actually fight like the top of the top.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dana said that Piotr Jan is getting the next shot at the belt, but he doesn't know who's going to fight opposite of him. And I think it should be Aljamain Sterling because who else in bantamweight should really get a title shot? Not
No
Cody
one.
Garbrandt. Yeah,
No, that'd be messed up. Like you want to just give him the shot because y'all like him. Like that's nowhere near fair. Like
definitely
it's
not
crazy.
TJ Dillashaw either.
Speaking of like title fights and like matchups, last night I think we also saw one of the more unexpected matchups one of the unexpected outcomes last night from a performance between motherfucking damn
Justin
it.
Gaethje and Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
Let me tell you
It's been a
something.
long day, man. My bad.
I wasn't surprised. I'm not gonna lie. I chose wrong, but I feel like I've been saying for quite a bit of time now. Justin Gaethje is good at hitting people hard, and Tony Ferguson gets hit a lot. And guess what happened last night? Tony Ferguson got hit a hell of a lot, and Justin Gaethje was able to find his chin. He looked a little different in this fight, is what I will say. Justin Gaethje looked like he wasn't playing the game of, hey, we're just gonna go in there and fight and fight and fight and see who falls down first. He seemed a little bit more calculated in this fight, and I think that was to his benefit because Tony Ferguson wasn't playing games in there either. I think that Justin Gaethje wasn't in there trying to play the game of we're both going to get hit until one of us fall down. I think that Justin Gaethje was a little bit more calculated last night, and he seemed to be a little different in there. What I'll also say is that I think Tony Ferguson looked a little off last night, and if I had to assume, I would say that's from the prior weight cut he had. He looked good still, but he looked a little off, and I don't think that helped him in the fight either. Justin Gaethje just looked like he was just ready for anything that Tony had for him, and not to say that he didn't, because he got dropped in the second round, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
But at the same point in time, he just looked like he was just ready for the challenge.
I scored 345 Gaethje all the way. Gaethje, he was beating him up to a pulp. And honestly, that fight could have probably been stopped in the fourth round instead of the fifth. And I think that Trevor Whitman, Gaethje's head coach, deserves a lot of credit because
Yes.
he coached Gaethje to calm down because so in the first round he was having success with them hooks, and then in the second round he was missing a bit, and Tony was starting to light him up quite a bit, and in between the rounds, you heard Trevor Whitman was like, "Hey Gaethje, take some power off the punches. You don't need to hit home runs. The target is gonna be there. Be a little more calm. Don't overexert yourself." And then boom, I think after the third round, he was like, "All right, you remember what happened last time when you started getting comfortable? You ended up getting knocked out twice. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Calm down." No, like
Well,
and
no,
Trevor
well,
Whitman.
no. Well, yeah, I was gonna say Trevor Whitman said, "Yo, don't forget the last time what happened last time you got comfortable? It was like, and then Gaethje did say, I got knocked out twice.
Yeah. Gaethje said that. You're right. I give credit to Whitman because I'm like he really helped Gaethje settle into his own in this fight. You know what I mean? Because Gaethje was starting to get a little wild there, and Trey Whitman had to be like, "Yo, like, remember, what kind of fight you're in. This ain't no normal nonsense fight now. This is for it's not the real world title, but it's for a stake at a championship fight. This is serious. So I give kudos to Trevor Whitman for sure for that. I give kudos to Jason Gaethje, man. He really outboxed Tony, and he lumped Tony up real damn good.
He hit Tony with some stuff that if it was any other fighter, they would have been out early.
Yeah, I have to eat some crow, you know what I mean? Because I was like, I didn't think Gaethje was a 5-round fighter. I didn't think, Gaethje had what it take to deal with the full arsenal of Tony. And Tony didn't use his full arsenal. He didn't really grapple in the fight. Like his first takedown attempt was like at the 5th round, and by that point it was way too late. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wonder if that his non-grappling approach had something to do, with the weight cut issues or something like that. He knew, like, okay, if I try to grapple, I'm going to exert too much energy. But I don't know. But once again, that's not Justin Gaethje's fault. You know what I mean? It's not Justin Gaethje's fault that Tony didn't decide to use all of his skills.
Right.
So because of that, all kudos to Justin and his team for really coming in on like 5 to 6 weeks notice and beating up Tony.
Mike Tyson always says, you have a plan. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Yeah. So, and I think a lot of that had to do with like, okay, you had a plan. Now we're going to sidestep that. And now you got punched by a guy that probably hits harder than a lot of dudes you faced before. Like you said, like he was very calculated. I'm not sure if y'all saw the tweet by this post that Will Harris put out last night this morning, but it was a screenshot from a tweet that he put out like a month ago where he said, he was like, yo, this isn't the same Justin Gaethje who fought Dustin or Eddie trying to take kids off in a round. He's more calculated and relaxed. Instead of going for the straight kill, he's a patient killer. So, and just saying like, yo, the war's coming and it's time for the strap. Like, I think whatever Trevor Whitman's doing over there, he kind of really was able to define Justin Gaethje by the saying of a different beast but the same animal. Like you saw him, I mean, you're like, yo, he's still Justin Gaethje is Justin Gaethje, but it's just like he's just like you said, where Trevor Whitman told him like, yo, take 10% off your punches, man, because he was hitting hard in them for earlier rounds. And I said to myself, I was like, just knowing who Ferguson is, it's not going to be easy for that to work. Like, he's not someone you just keep throwing punches at the whole time and you just try to let it go. You let it fly. Because if you burn out, he's still going to have the same amount of energy in the 5th round. But the fight ended up just being what it was, and he ended up losing the fight. Afterwards, we saw like the poor sportsmanship for a brief second from Tony Ferguson.
It's frustration.
It's frustration. I don't hold him against that.
Yeah. I don't hold it against them because like they made up shortly afterwards, but
right?
Like just because Justin Gaethje even said, he was like, "Yo, being an asshole to get you nowhere." So like,
it's easy to say that when you just TKO somebody, though. Like, you know what I
mean? Yeah. And I think for Ferguson now is like what happens for him, because to be honest with you, I think as long as Khabib stays the champion, I don't think he'll ever have. I'm not gonna say he'll never have a chance to fight Khabib, but I think it's going to be a real hard road for him to fight Khabib because we just know of the curse between them two. So
I think that Dana is probably like
thank God
with this, because I don't think he's a big Tony Ferguson guy, and I think like after this fight is over, he of course he would like to have Tony fight some of the best guys, but he's probably going to have Tony fight like Dustin Poirier now or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's not going to have, because we already know, I already know, even though Khabib and Gaethje are supposed to be next up, right? Because Gaethje's the interim champ, right? That's how logic is. Logic says interim champ versus actual champ to unify, right? I feel like Dana's going to try to politic to have Conor fight Gaethje.
That's just so crazy, though. Like
I don't think so.
You don't
to fight for Dana to have Gaethje Gaethje fight McGregor?
Yeah, so this way
I,
it's a shoot in for Conor to fight Habib again.
I
Because
don't
remember,
think that.
Dana's ultimate goal is for Conor Habib to have that rematch. He
Oh,
doesn't want
absolutely.
so the best because remember Habib said he's not going to fight. He came out and said he's not going to fight Conor unless Conor gets on a win streak, right? Then Conor's manager came out and said that the only way that Habib will, uh, basically amend his demands if Conor fights Gaethje, you know. So I feel like, well, now that Gaethje's the interim champ, is it too far fetched to believe that Dana is going to try to politic in a way for Gaethje to defend the interim belt against Conor?
It would be smart business wise, but I don't think Gaethje would be willing to even take a fight like that because
I do.
like
I think he would be
I
willing.
I
Uh,
don't think reason why I say I don't think so is because though we know who Gaethje is and we know the fighting style that he's always had, and now the more calculated fighting style he has now, I think him just like I think he probably learned something from this fight. Just the fact that prior to this fight, Tony Ferguson was the guy that was about to fight for a title, for a world title.
okay.
And due to the circumstances of the virus and Khabib's religious practices, he's not fighting for the belt right now due to Ramadan.
Yeah.
So by taking on this Gaethje fight, he got smoked, and like now he has to work his way back to getting a world title fight. I think Gaethje knows something. I don't think Gaethje's afraid to fight Conor, but I just think right now he realizes, yo, if I fight Conor, I'd rather fight Conor after I beat Khabib. I think right now, just from the what we just saw last night, I really think Gaethje's going to say to himself, "Yo, if I'm doing this over there, trust me, I can do this against Khabib." And we can't forget at the same time he's a world class wrestler. Like he's a world class he has a world class wrestling background. Now, when you match that wrestling background up against someone of a pedigree of Khabib, and granted, we understand that not Tony, but Justin's style has always been let's just bang it out. Like when you take someone that says, okay, well, I I know how to try to work against his takedown, and if he can keep Khabib on his feet for long enough, he might make it a little bit harder of a fight for Khabib. I'm not saying he's going to guarantee himself a win, but I think him holding off until till he can land the fight with Khabib would be much smarter for him. Just in the event that we know who Conor is, and we know at the end of the day, Conor style wise, that fight against Gaethje is probably the better fight for Conor because Gaethje is more of a Gaethje prefers being a stand up type of fighter. He prefers to bang it out, and Conor, we've seen it plenty of times. Conor will bang it out with someone if someone tries to bang it out, or he'll try to like exchange. Connor's put a lot of people down with his punches before.
I actually I agree with it. I think for Gaethje it is a lot smarter for him to take the Habib fight.
Right.
It's just better opportunity at that point. You know what I mean? Because he'll never get that type of opportunity. He wasn't going to get that opportunity if it
No.
wasn't for that pandemic. So,
Well,
Yeah,
not only that,
exactly.
but don't they both have the same manager?
but yeah, but which is going to also be interesting because I feel like Ali, whatever, I
Oh,
don't know how to pronounce
Ali's
it.
both their manager.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the fight that should be made is Gaethje and Connor. I mean, not Connor, Gaethje and Habib.
Yes.
I think it's 100% the right fight to make. It's the fight that needs to happen. I won't be surprised though if Dana's going to try to politic a way for Gaethje to fight Connor. In my opinion, I think right now Connor, honestly, he in a position where he can wait for the title shot. You know what I mean? I feel like Tony now with Tony losing, why should Connor fight him? You know what I mean? I mean, I know people are going to be like, oh well, he should fight Tony, to have another win in his resume.
No,
But it's
that's a
not.
bad fight.
Well, it's not. Not only is it a bad fight for Connor. I mean, not just off of striking because I think Connor could. I think Connor could beat anybody in the division off of striking. But
Yeah,
the fact that if you have good wrestling, you're going to beat Connor. Let's just
yeah.
face the facts. And Tony is probably one of the more dangerous people he can fight outside of Khabib that could probably now is going to beat him up on the ground. Now, but I feel like with Connor, the rules aren't normal for him. You know what I mean?
No.
Let's say he takes the Masvidal fight, right? And let's say he beats Masvidal, right? Because Masvidal came out and said that he'll take the fight at 155. You know, if it was against Connor, and I think that would be a bad idea for Masvidal because he does the flourish well at 155. He flourishes much better at 170. So,
Right.
but all right. So anyway, let's say Connor does beat him. Though. Connor beats him. How is he not going to get a title shot against Habib now? Dana was so ready to give him the title shot already against Habib. But if it wasn't for Habib, so being so strict on not giving Connor a rematch, the fight would have already happened. We wouldn't even have Tony. So my theory is Gaethje and Habib. It should happen. I think that's the right thing to do. If Connor does fight Masvidal, as the rumors are saying, and let's say he beats Masvidal, I think we're going to see either Connor and Gaethje or Connor and Habib.
I mean, honestly, even if he were to lose the Masvidal, that's
It
at
doesn't hold him.
170. They might just try and just put him in there anyway. Like, does it really matter for Connor? Like, if they really want him to get the title shot, like they
Yeah,
can
you're right.
probably find a way to put him in there, and that's just
You're right.
the way it is.
And honestly, that's something I just thought about also, where I can agree to that. Like, if I I agree with Lau. Like, I think it's gonna be Gaethje and Khabib and probably Conor and Masvidal. But in the same breath, if Conor was to lose to Masvidal, it won't. It does. Having Conor fight at 170 right now, it helps him at the end of the day, because let's say he just the same way he beat Donald, right, at 170. You say
Yeah.
to yourself, yo, this guy, a lot of us said this, yo, whatever Connor that we're about to get, it looks a little different just based off the head kick and the shoulder hit. Like
Yeah.
like I think for Connor, it may be better for him to fight Masvidal, though Masvidal can wrestle a little bit or whatever. Well, not a little bit in comparison to Connor, especially. He's a lot better of a wrestler than Connor. But I do believe for Connor, it gives him a chance to actually fight Masvidal and actually put his wrestling to the test. Because I really do believe over the past, when did they fight? Like, what, last year? Early
Who?
last year, or was it late? Connor and Khabib. It was last year, or was it late
No, bro.
18?
It was like late 2018.
Yeah. So I honestly I do believe Connor's getting. I feel like Connor is probably somewhere working on his craft in terms of wrestling. Still, like, I think all the time that's building up for him, just like not Connor, just like Naja was saying earlier about Stipe. Stipe holding off as DC ages out to give
Yeah.
himself a better chance of winning. I think in a sense for Connor right now, it's, hey, I'm a hold since there is a hold off, I'm getting my wrestling together. And if he can fight Masvidal is someone that will want to stand up and bang with him, but in the same breath, he can. We know, I'm quite sure we all can assume that Masvidal is not a better grappler than Khabib.
Yeah.
So I think it gives him some room to say, well, I'll have a chance. Hopefully, if I fight someone at 170, they're willing to actually fight long. It's gonna be harder for me to put them away. Like someone that naturally fights at 170. I'm not meaning someone like Cerrone. It's gonna be harder for me to put them away, so I can put some of my grappling skills to the test. Or just the defensive skills I have of grappling, because I think that's more or less what he's focusing more on. Um, and if he loses, like Nacho said, it doesn't hold any weight. Like, it doesn't. I don't think it holds enough weight at the end of the day. Like, Connor can come off a loss and he's still gonna get what he wants. And he's still Connor's like 29, 30 years old now. Like,
Yeah.
it's still early. He's still in his prime. He's still in the prime of his career, and I think Dana's gonna want to take advantage of that while he can. So
Yeah. I think if I man, I really would like to see Connor fight more often. Well, apparently he's been trying to get a fight happening.
yeah,
So
I think he'll
and
fight soon enough, honestly.
well,
I,
they said that he
probably July.
yeah, I was gonna say yeah, I hear he might come back in July, and if it is against Masvidal, I feel like that'd be a blockbuster fight. That would probably break the pay-per-view record. But if he fights Masvidal at 170, man, I have a hard time choosing Connor to win that fight.
I think he'll get finished in that fight. I think
Yeah,
Masvidal will put him out.
Yeah.
I think so too. I think Masvidal is too big, and Masvidal is really good at one. I don't see Conor being 170. Now, if it's 155, now we have a chance where there's a chance where Conor could win that fight because
If Conor,
Masvidal he's kind of 50-50 at 155. He was good at 155, but also remember he lost to like Gilbert Melendez and shit like that. So at 155 he isn't at his best. You know what I mean?
if Conor beats Jorge at 170, do you think he deserves the next title shot at 170?
Yeah, I do.
Fair enough.
Before we close off the UFC, close off this conversation, I do want to say I really enjoyed the commercial, the advertisement about GS. No, I'm not even going to talk about him. I see Nigel smirking I'm not even bringing.
You're about to shout out your boy.
Yeah, I am. Yo, I really want to say I'm glad that he finally got into the Hall of Fame. GSP.
The other boy.
I'm not the other boy. Nope. No.
Do we have anything? We have any more words on the UFC card?
No, just it was a great event. Looking forward to the one on Wednesday.
Yeah, UFC 249 was pretty entertaining. I thought it was good for the first major sporting event to be back on TV, and I enjoyed it. I can't wait for the next card. As of right now, we're gonna go ahead and end this one. Make sure you check out episode 8, the actual episode 8 of this week. This is kind of like episode 8A or B, I guess you should say, depending on how you're gonna listen to it. We're going to talk about a few things, pertaining to music and a couple other topics. But as of right now, we'll see y'all later. Have a good one.
Yeah, y'all take it easy. And yeah, man, I just want to say in my closing words, like I said again, congrats to George GSP. And I really want to say, congrats to GSP. UFC 249 was a great fight. I think this kind of showed us, like Lau said before, this is what happens when you actually put good fights on a card instead of stacking it with empty fights, not fights that aren't worthwhile, just so you have a good main card. I hope the UFC keeps giving fights like this, and hopefully I'm hoping that this is one of the fights that I wish was on Fighter Island. All due respect, with no lie, this card would have been the perfect Fighter Island type of card. Granted, I know that's for international fights, but this would have been one of those great cards. So, anybody listening, I wish you guys the best, and you know how to follow me. Follow me at SaintKitch.com, Saint Kitch on Instagram.com, coming soon. st.kitch, and yeah, I'll leave that to my mans,
Yeah, so piggyback off of my good buddies over there, and definitely UFC 249 was great. Make sure you tune in to the other part of episode 8, and I hope that these next 2 fight cards that's happening on Wednesday and the next one that's happening on next Saturday is going to be good. They're solid fight night cards, so and everybody tune into those 2 as well. But this is it. We're signing off for this portion of the episode, and shout out to Anthony Pettis.
All right. Just know he's gonna see you in the street.
All right, have a good one, y'all.